Frédérique Ries, you are a member of the European Parliament from Belgium, member of the Alliance of Liberals and Democrats in Europe. These are my questions. During the recent debate in the European Parliament on the fight against anti-Semitism, you denounced the silence around the case of a French Jewish woman, Sarah Halimi, who was brutally beaten and killed by his Muslim neighbor. Can you tell us more about this?
Well, this attack and this murder happened at the beginning of the month of April, and now we are 2 months later, and basically nothing is happening. So it's not my idea to interfere in the judicial process and procedure in France. Of course, I don't want to do that. But I wanted to put my modest contribution to raise awareness, because it is insufferable to see the real omerta, that's the word we use in French or in Italian, the real wall of silence that has been built around this savage murder. So everybody guesses that French justice didn't want at the time to go too fast, to jump to conclusions, that at the same time it was the elections in France, so nobody wanted to boost the result of the Front National, of the far right. These are, reasons that you understand, that you can understand, but there are no excuses for the silence, which is totally disrespectful for the victim and for the family of the victim. So we had this debate and a resolution that was massively voted by the European Parliament last Thursday on the ways to combat anti-Semitism. I took the floor, not on the text, not on the resolution, not on the, if I dare say, the usual blah blah, only words and words and words. I took my minute, not as a minute of silence, but as a minute of denouncing and pay justice to Sarah Halimi.
Do you think that endorsing the working definition of anti-Semitism of the International Holocaust Remembrance Alliance is enough to fight the scourge of anti-Semitism in Europe?
It is never enough for us who fight anti-Semitism and racism on a daily basis. It can never be enough. But one has to understand it is a compromise. It was discussed and negotiated, and hardly negotiated, during more than a year, I think, by the experts of 27 member states, by the experts of even 28 member states at the time, by the experts of 7 international organizations. So, as all compromises, you cannot have 100% of what you wish would be there. So it is never enough, but it is now on paper, and it is a definition with which polices, for example, in the UK, in Austria, and in many other European member states, can work with, because we need the words. We need the words to be written, to tackle anti-Semitism, to pursue anti-Semitism, and to have the perpetrators condemned. So, is it enough? Never. But is it efficient? Yes, of course.
Jewish religious practices such as Shrita, the ritual slaughter of animals, are attacked across Europe in several countries, including Belgium.
Yes.
What's your opinion on this?
Very complicated. Now, you're asking me in a nutshell, in 1 minute, can you tell me your opinion? I fought for 3 years, I think. When we had the directive, I don't even remember when that was, a few years ago, on the slaughter of animals, where we fought and managed to include at the European level, in the European text, a derogation for ritual slaughter of the animals. It was very hard to put in a text, and to be very honest, I'm not going to please everybody by saying so. I'm not sure I would do that again. I am a firm believer in the respect we must have for the different religious codes and their liberty to, how do you say that, to perform their religious duties. But at the same time, I do think that maybe it would be time for some religions to be a little reformist. It's a bit difficult for me to say this in English, but to advance, wouldn't it be the time also here to have a compromise, some sort of a compromise. I don't have it in my head. I don't know. I'm not the expert. I'm not the religious expert. I listened to them, the animal experts, the religious expert years ago when we made the European text. Now I know it's attacked everywhere. It's not only Belgium and a few member states. It's going to be attacked everywhere because the citizens' awareness about animal welfare is raising, and the level of that awareness is not willing to compromise anymore with religious beliefs, whatever it is. So I think here also the urgent need is to obtain a compromise, and maybe some religious communities would have to make an effort also.
Are you afraid by the rise of populism in Europe?
Of course I am. Of course I am. It's becoming the rise of populism, the power of social media, the power of fake news. You just put them all in a bag and mix it up, and it gives you, result of elections that we have. It gives you a hemicycle, for example, here in the European Parliament, when we have the far left and the far right, the Eurosceptics, and others. We even have Nazis in the Parliament, if you ask me. We have 6 Nazis because of populism, because of all these people who believe that they can heal the world with 4-word slogans. It's so much easier to speak and to try to have a reflection in slogans than to have an actual real reflection on how best you can answer the very severe challenges that we are facing now. You cannot answer with slogans to the challenge of migrations. You cannot have a slogan to answer the challenge of terrorism. You cannot have a slogan to know how you are going to tackle the challenge of the refugees. Those people, those men, those women, those kids whose houses have been destroyed, where bombs are shelling on the places they used to live for years and years. So these people, they treat the questions as I said, in slogans. It's awfully difficult because more and more people are rejecting traditional politics and politicians because they are seducing the other. Those populists are seducing. So I mentioned a few of the most severe challenges that we have to tackle, but I would say that populism is maybe the first one.